Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Gibson Guy here. Thanks for dropping by the channel. I hope you find this an interesting video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Give me a like on the video and share this with your friends. Get more people to know about it. I'm Mr. Gibson Guy, and I'm closing in right now on 100 film camera videos on my YouTube channel and almost 300 total videos for all different subjects. Today I'm kind of finishing up here on this series that I've been doing about the Mamiya 645. I put together an outfit with it and with the hard case and everything. This goes down there. I have it out because it's easier to get out when I'm using it for the video. So it's loose. But one thing that I have found very little coverage of is the 645's waist level finder, speed finder, or sport finder, because that's something that completely leaves out the mirror. And at the time that these cameras were made, this book came out. This is a reference book I've had for almost 50 years now. And it has Hasselblad's, Mamiya's, Rolleiflex, Pentax 6x7, a couple of Veronicas, and the Shikamat 124, my first medium format camera. And it covers all those ones at the time. But in those days, as far as medium format cameras, the most sporty camera that they had, and as far as being able to cover sports, would be the 645 model. It's the only one that had an optional winder for it. There was two Hasselblads that were motorized. One was the Moon one, and one was the 2000 that were around at that time. I don't know if they're around anymore. I don't think so. But this was if you were shooting medium format and you wanted to do sports photography of something at a distance, whether it's racing cars or motorcycles or horses or polar bears, whatever it was, you could use this, and you could put the sports finder on it when you were using a long lens, like this 210 millimeter f4. But the idea of the speed finder was you weren't looking down into the camera and seeing out here. You were looking over the camera and seeing where the camera was pointed. So I'm going to show you how that works and how we put the whole thing together and how we use it. First I'll move this away here. Now, in my reading of the medium format cameras history, now this is now a history book. It was a current products book 40 years ago, 50 years ago. But in looking through this on the section on the waist level finder, I found out, and I never knew this until today when I found this out in the book, because I missed it every single time. And that is that Mamiya made two waist level finders. One of them also incorporated the speed finder, and the other one did not incorporate the speed finder. Now, this one is for mine, and also, I think I mentioned this on one other video with some other information out of the book. These cameras were not sold with the finder. They were sold just as a camera body, and you bought whatever finder you wanted to use. This is a PD prism finder. They had, well, I'm not going to go through all that. That's not the story here. But this is the waist level finder. It does not have a meter in it. These other finders have a separate shutter speed dial, separate from the shutter speed dial that's on the camera. So with like this PD finder, you're going to have two shutter speed dials. You have to set this one to the red dot so it's turned off, and then you can run on this one. But if you're using the waist level finder, which does not have a light meter in it, you have to get your shutter speed here. And we take this, put it down here, and it clicks on. Simple as that. Now, the promised sports finder. First we have this one that folds up like that. And then in the back, and this is part of the sports finder, we have a second finder, the rear finder. See if I can do this from here. You can see it, yeah. It's kind of tricky. Get that to fold up all the way. And then you have that. But you do all that, you're still not finished. Because there's more to it than that. And some people might not know that because somewhere along the way, some waist level finders lost their mask. This is the mask that shows the lines for different lenses. Oh, I got it backwards. Here we go. The outer lines are for the 110 millimeter lens. The middle rectangle there is for if you have the 150 telephoto lens, and then the inner rectangle is for the 210. Now for you finding your position, there's a little dot in the center, and that little dot in the center you're going to line up with this little hole right here. That's the peep sight right through there, and you want to hold the lens so you're looking right through that dot right there. This holds it on. I'll show you how this works. These just snap on like that. Now it needs more snap. There. And then the lower ones hold it in place. Now, we have the rear sight and we have the front sight. Let's see if I can show you this lined up. It's similar to lining up gun sights, only it's kind of in three-dimensional. Yeah. You can see the rectangles. Now, I want this sight to line up with that dot. All right, now let me put this together so you can see why we do all that. Okay, so we've got the sport finder there. I just recently added this. When I got the camera body, I didn't have the body cap, and I found one online. I ordered it, and it comes with a red dot on it. The point of the red dot for the body cover is press the release, and it will release, and it lines up with the red dot on the camera. And that's also what you'll line the lens up with too. So take this lens, there's the red dot on the lens. Take off this. That's the rear lens cap. And now I'm gonna, it's harder to do with this open. You should probably put the lens on before you open up the sport finder, but this shows you how to work around it. Now, I'm going to line up the red dot, and you got to be careful there. See how it falls into place when you make the circle? Get it right into the grooves. Turn it, and it clicks into place. Then take off your front lens cap, your lens hood here, and see if I can balance this. This thing starts to get heavy with all this stuff on it. And there we are, and you can see rear sight, front sight, line it up, see how we do. Now, I'll show you, when you do this, the inner one was the longest lens, the 210 millimeter, the middle one was the 150, and the outside rectangle is 110. Now, put that down, it gets heavy. From reading the book, I also discovered that when you take this off, well, it's not hard really, just disagreeable. There, I got that off. When you take this off, you don't have the dot to follow, but if you go through this, the full frame is 80% of the picture with an 80mm lens. When you set it on 110, the largest rectangle on the screen, the correct word for this is mask. The largest rectangle was 80% of the 110. The middle rectangle was 80. It shows 80% of your picture from the 150 lens, and the smallest rectangle in the middle of the picture is 80% of the full picture with the 210 lens on it. Now, that's their explanation, because you're looking off to the side and everything like that. The image is going to be bigger than what you see in the viewfinder, even if you're not using this. If you're just using a regular PD prism or just a regular pentaprism on it, you see 80% of the image. There's always a little bit more, because design is a pro camera. The pros always want to have a little bit of a safety margin around the corners they can crop out. So you take the picture at 80%, and you know if it moves a little bit to the side or up or down, you got a little bit of latitude, because you got a little bit all the way around the picture that you can adjust to in your printing process. All right, so let's take it apart. Oh, one other thing that I had to point out, and that is we put all this stuff together, but what we didn't do was do any focusing, because this is closed. But with this camera and all the goodies, oh, come on, do this to me. There we go. All right, we're on now. With all that there said and done, we can loosen that. While the camera is set up with the Sport Finder, you can still open this up, and then you can still press this chrome button and pop out the magnifier like that. By the way, this is standard is a negative 1.5 diopter. This one works well for me. You can get up to 3.5 diopters on these. These are interchangeable. You can unscrew them and put them back in. But this gives us the view through here, so we can focus on our subject. And then, after we get the camera in focus, we know it's going to be over there. Then you set it up to that focus, wherever it is, and then you just concentrate on looking down your sight and lining up your picture, so you can take the picture that you want. That's it. Okay, so that is the Sport Finder. We will take it back apart. I don't think people use these very much, but it's nice to know you got it. You never know. Could happen. Fold that down, fold this down, fold this down. And that's the whole thing. Then lens comes off. Shorten the lens so it'll go in its place. red dot, all right, this one's for the camera, this one's for the lens. And this one, red dot here. Try to do it left-handed. And make sure it goes all the way in. There, falls into place. And there it is, all set. And this box goes in there. This box goes in here. I think I'm going to do a little bit more cutting on this place where I keep the camera. There. And that's it. I hope you found this useful. If you ever wondered about a waist level finder and a speed finder, that's the whole story on how it works. If you're interested in these, you can still get this book on Amazon. I didn't get it on Amazon. I bought it in the bookstore back when they were selling them. But you should be able to find either Amazon or I would look on YouTube, or not YouTube, eBay. You can probably find this if you're interested in the history of all of these old medium format cameras. And this gives you all the information like the factory was putting out back in the day. And those factories are mostly not around anymore. So it's hard to get that information, but this is a treasure trove of all sorts of interesting information about different medium format cameras. That's all for today, and until the next time, this is Mr. Gibson Guy, and I'm out of here.